Hey guys, how's it going? This is Khan, Mr. So Real, and welcome to another episode of the State of the Game for The Division. This is going to be for July the 20th, 2017. So we're all talking about the PTS. PTS is in big swing. If you are a PC player, this State of the Game pretty much has nothing for you in terms of new information. But if you are a console player, there is a lot to talk about and a lot to learn. So yeah, there's, as you can tell by the title of this, there is pretty much a slim second chance if you feel like you should have been in the PTS but you weren't invited. So why don't we get into this? I'll start this off with what Yannick had to say. Then I'll talk about a couple of other things really quick, and then we'll get back into other information that I feel like you guys would love to know. So let's get started.
Now talking about PTS on console, one of the big discussions that we've had since we started talking about it is the invite process. Before we start with all the drama and all the issues, yes, we agree the invite process of the PTS on console was kind of a mess, definitely. Basically, one of the things that happened with all the players saying that they have a lot of playtime on the game but were not invited. So there's two extra criteria that are actually to take into account, and that one falls on me. It's my fault I did not mention those when I explained the criteria because they're very standard, and so I didn't think to mention them, but that could be an explanation. The first one is that you actually have to be 18. And that might sound stupid, but there may be some cases of players that have not received an invite because they were not 18. And the second one is that you actually have to be opted in to receive emails from Ubisoft, which means that when you created your Uplay account, when you started playing the game or whatever, if you untick the thing that says I allow Ubisoft to send me promotion emails or whatever, we are legally not allowed to send you any emails, even if that is a console PTS invite or whatever. So that's probably the case for some of you guys. You probably have a lot of hours, you probably would qualify for the PTS, but the fact that this has been unticked means that we are not allowed to select you and to invite you. That is just a situation. And now it's too late. Now you can go there and tick it again for potential future phases. Then you would be eligible. But it's going to be too late now for the PTS on console. As I said, that's something we learn in the process, so we'll do it better next time, but that's one of the cases. There are also a lot of cases because we have a lot of people that were eligible and were just not invited. So if you think that you should have been invited, if you think that you had this opted-in option that was ticked and that you had a lot of playtime and still didn't get an invite, please do contact our support teams. Our support teams are able to double check with the list of all the players that are eligible that we have. They're able to double check if you're part of this list, and if you are, they are able to send you a key. So please contact our support teams, and if they find out that you actually should be eligible, they will send you a key for the PTS.
All right, so as you heard it, the PTS is available if you feel like you should have been invited. You just need to be 18, and you need to have checked off the little box that says Ubisoft is allowed to send you information. If you have done that, and if you feel like you should have been in there and you weren't invited, definitely go ahead and check out the customer support center and send them a message and let them know that you should be invited. And actually, I did get a message earlier throughout the week from someone who was on the Xbox. I'll leave them nameless, and they accidentally had some corruption issue, and they were in the middle of downloading it, had some of it downloaded, and then it got kind of screwed up, and then they had to stop. They deleted it, and then they tried to reinstall it, and then there was an issue with the key not working again. They contacted customer support, and then they got a new key. So yeah, that is also a thing. So if you had any issues during your installation, you can contact them as well. But if you just weren't invited and you meet all the criteria, it's worth a shot. You might as well go ahead and try and see if you can get a key and get into the PTS. So speaking about the PTS, let's find out what kind of new things are coming for the console players next week.
as you know, PTS 3 has been released on PC this week. It started on Tuesday this week, so that was 2 days ago. The good news is that PTS 3 is also coming to console. So we are currently going through the submission process for the PTS 3 build that is already on PC. And the good news is that it's looking very good. We should be able to deploy it on Tuesday next week on console. No change on PC. PC is going to keep running with the version that is right now. So we're just basically bringing console on par with what is available on the PC version. We don't know yet if there's going to be a next phase of PTS or not, or if we're just going to stop it there and then just finalize the update with all the latest changes and release it. Oh, I'm guessing you're not aiming at PTS 4. Right now, to be honest with you, no, we are not. Right now, we're thinking of PTS 3 being the last one and doing the final tweaks for the release. But that also is going to depend on what feedback we get from the console players when we release it on Tuesday. So if we see that something is really broken and that we really need to put that much work and something on a PTS again, then we would do a PTS 4. But right now, except like the changes that we've talked about right now we're pretty happy with where the update is. So we have a pretty good idea of what are the final changes we need to do. So we'd rather just focus on making the final build.
So the PTS might be over as of the end of next week, maybe. We're not really sure exactly, but the PTS may be coming to a close depending on the feedback that is given from the console players next week after they get the version 3 or week 3 version of the PTS. So if you are using the PTS on console, you definitely will want to check it out and see what other things are coming and what changes have been made. And speaking about changes that have been made, why don't we find out what's going on with the SASG and the Strikers gear set.
There's going to be one change that we're going to put on this build on console that is not available on the PC version because we made it after we deployed it on PC, and we think it's very important for console players. It has to do with the SASG. So Keith, do you want to talk about that?
We decided on a targeted approach where we're just tuning the actual weapon because there were some things that were out of balance with some of the other high RPM shotguns like the Super 90, for example.
Yep.
So it's similar in some ways to what we've done to the SVD, just kind of bringing it in line with the rest of the game and making it, more balanced. So the major change is that as you shoulder, the initial spread goes a little bit wider and matches closer to what the Super 90 does. So, shouldering and firing and that's still part of the game, but it's harder to land every single pellet because the initial spread of what's live right now is really tight.
Yeah. Why doesn't recalibration work on console? The recalibration is, you're still on PTS 2 on console, so you don't have the recalibration fix, but it works on PTS 3. So next week on Tuesday, when we release it on console, the recalibration should be fixed.
All right, so for the last bit, or basically the last couple of sections that I thought you guys really needed to know, we're going to find out exactly from them about the changes for the SASG and the way that it will work with Strikers. We're also going to find out about recalibration on console. We're also going to find out about classified gear sets, the revamps, how they've changed the gear sets themselves, not just the weapons that go along with them. And we're also going to find out about some future enhancements on visual cues. And then that'll pretty much wrap it up. So I'll let you guys check that out, and then we'll get out of here. So go ahead, check it out, enjoy. And if you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave a like and a comment and let me know what is it that you're most looking forward to. And let me know if you actually do try to contact Ubisoft. And if you do get a code, definitely let us know, and we'll give you a huge congratulations. And then see you guys in the PTS.
Obviously, classified has been a big discussion, the classified items, because this is one of the cool things that people are looking for with the global events. And one of the big feedback that we had since the beginning of the PTS was the drops of classified and obtaining classified items with global events and with the caches and all of that. So we did say that with the implementation we did in PTS 3, we tried to tell in some of the Reddit threads and all that this was not the final version, but we were going to keep looking at it because we've seen directly that people were still not happy with that. So Keith, do you want to talk a bit about that, where we're at now and where we want to go moving forward?
What our plan is now is to go back into those loot tables. We like the general makeup of them, but we're going to up the drop rate of classifieds inside those loot tables, and we're going to increase the number of items that come out of those caches. So now you'll be guaranteed 2 items to drop, and there's a chance for a bonus drop. So it's, just that change alone right off the bat makes this a much more rewarding experience, cuts the grind time down considerably, because we want it to be fun. We want people to jump in, play all the cool global event stuff, and feel satisfied. We've pushed the chance that you'll pull a classified item from the loot table is over a 50% chance now. So that is up from about 30% on PTS 3.
So that's for the caches. And in terms of obtaining these caches, how are you looking at that? Are you doing anything there?
Yeah, so we changed the price of the caches on PTS 3. They increased in price, and I know that frustrated a lot of people. So what we've done is that price, we like the 1,500 price. It's a good number for you to climb towards. But now we've gone through and we're trying to kind of rebalance the token gain so that on average, and some people will do this faster. We know that people find faster routes to do some of this. But on average, people playing challenging level content should be obtaining a cache about every hour. So you can think, every hour I play the game at a difficulty level that most of our players have no problem with, they'll be getting, 2 to 3 items.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to talk about the sets themselves, actually? Because there are some changes in PTS 3. I don't know if all the console players are familiar with them because they were on the patch notes. The PC players got to play with them a bit. The most notable ones are probably with Striker first. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so, Striker had its tuning change on PTS 2 that kind of brought down the overall amount of heal that you could do with it. And overall, it took it down to 15% of your overall health. So we're pretty happy with how that plays in the overall balance of the game. But we weren't super happy with how you got so much of the heal off just equipping the 6-piece. So you could basically equip the heal, equip the 6-piece, get a pretty decent heal right off the bat, still go straight firearms, and even though the overall set kind of felt imbalanced, that build definitely pushed out, and we saw some problems with that. And we also didn't really like that it didn't make you commit to a play style, right? Like a lot of these goals of the classified sets are to make you go all in on the type of build you want to create. So what we've done is reduce the heal you get just by equipping the 6-piece and kind of strengthened the amount of heal you get by stacking stamina. So now you can actually, if you go straight 10k stamina, you can actually push the heal slightly further up to 16%. So you get a slightly better heal than what's on PTS 2, but you're making a pretty hard choice to sacrifice DPS and electronics. So, we're definitely pretty happy with how that's playing so far on PC. So yeah, console players, good feedback on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, especially.
And then the other set that we kind of, I would say we tweaked the most on PTS 3 was Lone Star. So Lone Star was one of those ones that internally we were like most excited about, but we didn't quite nail the execution of as it first went on the PTS. And there were a bunch of reasons for that. The buff wasn't proccing as often as we thought it would because of some bugs. The percentage of the buff proccing was really low, and there was no way to chain the buffs together. So that one got a pretty big overhaul. It has new signs and feedback to try to help you know that your buff is coming earlier, and when a buff is active is kind of pumped up a little bit with icons above your head and that type of thing. And we've also upped the chance it can buff to 50%, and now you can chain up to 4 of them together. So if you kind of are getting good rolls and you're in the middle of a fight and you play properly, you have this chance to, go actually berserk, which is what the talent, was supposed to be all about.
Yeah. So
now is the time we're really focusing on improving the signs and feedback of all the sets, because, the 6 pieces have all these new talents that are coming in that add a lot of special utility to players. And you kind of need to know what your group has procced in PvE, and you really want to know what people have procced when they're coming against you in PvP. So we're trying to basically make it so that at any time that someone has one of these 6 pieces active, you know it. So if someone's landed the Deadeye buff, you see the Deadeye icon, next to their nameplate, and for friendlies and enemies. For strikers, when you have the green heal aura around yourself, you see that on enemies now too. And it's kind of just like that across the board. So we're just trying to make it as obvious and in your face as possible exactly how to counter and how this should change your playstyle. Similar to the economy changes, those probably will go live at the end. So those will not be in the console PTS 3.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that is it for this week's PTS update. If you found this very useful, please let me know. As I said earlier, just hit that like button, all that other good stuff. Let me know what you guys think about this week's PTS. If you are on console, are you hyped for it? Let me know. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. I am Khan, Mr. So Real. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Peace.